I'd always wanted to start a book club at St. Gabriel's, but also find opportunities where we could come together as a small group, because we know in the church on Sunday we come together to worship, but really ministry happens on the other days as well. So in addition to outreach, one of the things I wanted to do is begin to build community. We have a weekly Bible study, and we study books of the Bible and books by theologians. The book club came about because as we studied the book Revelation to John, I brought in some other material. The Cross and the Lynching Tree, it's somewhat of a provocative book because what it deals with is the issue of race, the historicity of lynchings in our nation in comparison to the crucifixion of Christ. And how are they connected? Blacks in the South at the time were lynched because of the color of their skin or their ethnicity. Christ was crucified in a sense because of what he was doing and eating with sinners and tax collectors, the least among them.
One passage where when they're going to lynch somebody, you have to have a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So that, when Jesus was going to crucify, there was a crowd. So,
In talking about that, we realize that these things are still happening in our community. Look at Trayvon Martin.
Yeah, right.
That Zimmerman decided
Yes.
that this was the young man that he was going to go after. To shoot an unarmed teenager and be able to get away with it in this nation, at least for me growing up in the South, takes me back to the lynchings of black men hanging from the trees. And there was no justice for that. And he also talked about, who was it, Billie Holiday, who sang the song, Strange Fruit.
Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
When the incident in Staten Island, and through the book we were able to discuss that these things are really happening today.
The man who in Texas in the 90s was dragged behind his truck. And the incident in Staten Island, those are modern day lynchings. And so how do we have those conversations in our group? And hopefully we're able to take those into our families and into our community and really begin to affect some change. But at least as a small group, we can begin to discuss it and begin to think about those things. The point of our book club is really to have a time of fellowship, to come together and to discuss the issues that are happening in our community around a particular book. The second book we studied, Island Beneath the Sea, was purely for enjoyment. The third book was The New Jim Crow, and it deals with mass incarcerations in the 21st century here in America and how there are more men of color in prison than any other group. And so the book deals with how has that come about. And so we had wonderful discussion around that, especially with what was happening. And being a church predominantly of color, these are the issues that I want to bring.
It's just a great forum for us to speak, and listening to other people and their intake and their input into things sort of brings the book a little bit more to life and sort of relates to everyday life.
Song of the Shaman deals with indigenous religions and how you connect to that. And is it so far away? Because as I read the book as a priest, I said, a lot of what the young boy, Zig, wanted his mother to get in touch with is the same thing that I want my people to get in touch with. And I believe that the priest is the shaman today. We should be able to help people connect with their spirituality and connect with God, who is a spirit. These women here are deeply religious and very connected to their faith. The participants in this group are also the leaders in the church and the active members and the workers and all. I mean, these are the, they are the church. They are the ones that are still, always seeking spiritual things or even just being able to come together in fellowship.